lose weight, put on weight, whatever, but around, like you said, you kind of have that crash diet and then you put on those 5 kilos back. Well, that 5 kilos is the space between you and having your life.
Yeah.
So you're going and having that pizza on the weekend, you're having that extra glass of wine, you're enjoying your meals with friends and brunches and whatnot. Like, not all the time, but that you're not saying no to those opportunities of living your life.
Yeah.
So that is the difference in the space between living your best life and living a life of restriction.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the Happy Way podcast, your go-to place for all things fun, happiness, well-being, growth, trust, and diversity. I am your host, Melissa Fideli, and I am here to inspire and connect everyone who chooses health and happiness so you can be your healthiest self and live life the happy way. Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a jam-packed episode for you with the awesome Alexia Eleni, or as I know her, Lex, who after this episode is going to become your virtual hype girl. Lex is here to talk about all things body confidence and how our perception of our body image can literally change all aspects of your life. Lex has had a difficult journey with body image and has had to unlearn the way she felt about her body and rework her internal narrative to reach a place of happiness, gratitude, and full-blown love for her incredible body. So let's get into it, and I'm sure by the end of this episode, you will feel a new sense of gratitude for your beautiful body. So welcome, Lex.
Hi Mel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. It's been a minute since we've been talking about me coming on here.
I know. I saw Lex like months and months ago and I was like, I want to get you on the podcast. I'm excited to talk about this topic because it is such an important one, and it is a topic that all women, no matter where you're at in your self-love, body confidence journey, you need these reminders, and it's so refreshing to hear someone else's journey and perspective on things. So as we get started, I would really love for you to tell your story about your journey with body confidence and what that's looked like for you.
So I guess my journey is still going, and I think it's important to know that it never stops and there's no end to it. But it is such a fun journey if you make it fun. And I guess with myself, my journey, like obviously in high school, going through puberty and figuring out what your body actually looks like, going through those phases and those awkward teenage years. So it's not always the most fun, especially during high school when you've got all your friends and everyone looks different and you kind of are starting to compare yourself there. And we were lucky enough, I guess, when we were growing up, especially in high school, that we didn't have Instagram as yet.
Yeah.
So there were like Facebook and like posting on people's walls, and that's probably it.
Yeah.
MySpace. Yeah, there was a bit of like, it just ended up being less about image and more just about friends and linking up. So I think we're a little bit, and I look back on it and I'm like, we're kind of lucky that, it's just hard anyway, but still growing up within the school environment and you've got mates and all that are different sizes to you, and, you still are consuming media in high school with, magazines and celebrities and, TV shows and all that kind of stuff. So it's still very difficult when there's a typical beauty standard placed out there that you feel you have to reach. Yeah. And then anything below that you feel lesser than. So it happens all the time, and it's through the generations. Even in the 90s, early 2000s, it was all very much the same, just different media platforms that it came through. So I think my journey kind of started with, seeing that my friends' bodies looked different to mine. They were thinner. I was a chubby girl. Even when I was in primary school, I was, had a belly. Like, I've always had a belly. And I have done diets since I can remember, even with my mum, because she was like growing up in the 90s, her 20s and 30s in the 90s, early 2000s, like really Kate Moss, thin style look, thin everything, thin eyebrows, you name it. But I think from just having my mum being able to, she kind of felt that she had to look a certain way as well and be a certain weight and all that kind of stuff. It obviously does then transfer into, what I then thought I needed to look like. And I would see her dieting and having these soup diets and liquids and whatnot and doing all that stuff. And yeah, and I thought that I was like overweight as a kid. And yeah, you just always kind of have that in the back of your mind. Like, don't even say it, you know, blatantly, and you know, we're wogs, so there's always going to be that grandparent like, oh, like just grabbing your belly or something, and you're like, oh, yep. God. Or like chubby cheeks and stuff. And yeah, it just is all of these tiny, in a word, microaggressions, I guess, that you then take on board as like that is just backing up the flaws that you think are within you.
Yeah, you have. Yeah,
it's still all about, like you mentioned earlier, the unlearning of all of those things, and just realizing that there is way more to life than the person that I am on the outside and what I look like, and just like the sack of skin that I am, pretty much. There's so much more than just that. So that's kind of, I guess going back into like the high school stuff, it just it was difficult, and then it is for everyone and every girl, even the thinner girls, and everyone that I knew had problems with their body issues and their body image. It just, no matter what size you were, no matter what you look like, everyone is going through some similar journey to you. So, but obviously you don't know that at the time. You just think it's just you.
No one speaks about it, especially in high school, you know.
Gosh,
you can't, how do you speak up about that stuff? You feel so vulnerable and you're just trying so hard to be like how you think you should be, and it's hard work. It's hard, and it, you know, it really takes a toll on your mental health. And I really like how you said, you know, it's a journey and the journey doesn't have an end. And it's so true, because it's like we don't wake up one day and we're like, oh my God, I'm the hottest thing ever. Like, it's not even about that vanity. It's about, I am so grateful for my legs because they let me walk around. And I love that my arms, you know, are strong to help me carry things that I love. And, you know, it's those little things that essentially help you along the journey, and they just keep growing and, you know, keep blossoming, which I really like that you've said that. And I think it's a good little reminder for everyone. So I think one of the first places we need to start today as we delve into the body confidence topic is diet culture and how it impacts our relationships so badly with our body. What are your thoughts on this, and what's your experience been like? I mean, obviously you've mentioned that, you know, your mum played, you know, back in the 90s, was trying to be, you know, Kate Moss style. And that is something you grew up with. And that was the first kind of step for you to, you know, into that diet culture world. But that just keeps going. You know, as you get older, as you become more independent, you want to do it all yourself, like soup diets, this diet, that, these diet pills, like it's crazy. So what are your thoughts?
Look, diet culture, once you start seeing it, it's kind of like breaking that glass, you know, that mirror for you, in a sense, when you just kind of shatter and you're just like, holy shit, it is everywhere. And you just start picking it up from different things that may not even have occurred to you before. So it just ends up being like, it's ingrained in so much of how we, especially as women, how we navigate the world. So it, from something labeling it as a bad food, or like something as you know, like a guilty pleasure, like that then stems from diet culture, because basically diet culture, in my opinion, is the profitability of our insecurities. So we are then told, you know, this is the beauty standard you need to achieve. If you can't get there, or you're not there already, here's how to do it. And it's like, buy this thing, use this cellulite cream, get this food, take this pill, be on this shake, you know, and it just ends up being like this nonstop profitability cycle that you never actually get out of, and you never end up achieving anything, or you might achieve, you know, 5 kilos of weight loss, or it just ends up being water retention. So, and in your own brain as well, this cycle of this negative talk that you're like never going to be good enough until you reach this. I'm not going to be happy until I look like this, or that's what the scales look like. And I find I have a lot of these conversations with women just in my day-to-day passing. It's not even anything like, I guess, centered around confidence and body image. It's just like how we experience the world. And when you start to look into it and you start to kind of realize the different things that are diet culture, it scares you, because you're like, this is $1 billion industry. waist trainers and, and I bought a waist trainer back in the day when they first came out, probably 6 or 7 years ago, because I was still very much in my early 20s and wanting to, look that Kim Kardashian kind of way, all of that, the big booty, big boobs, small waist kind of thing. Yeah. And someone that has always had a belly. Yeah. Never really had, I've got like kind of a smaller waist, but that's because my hips filled out after high school, and that's because my boobs have always been big. So I thought, how can I have this feminine waist, that everyone is achieving?
Yeah, that everyone
online
wants right now. Yeah, online.
Everyone looks like that.
Everyone forgets about Photoshop in those moments. But anyway, that's it. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. To me, diet culture, people just really need to be aware of it. And when they are kind of teetering on those verges of like, I will feel like this. Yeah. Or when I feel like this, or when I look like this, I will be happy. Yeah. And attaching it to those situations rather than having the gratitude and the happiness throughout and as a climate within you rather than like a weather change in a sense.
And I think from a nutritional point of view, from that perspective, which is a big reason why I wanted to become a nutritionist in the first place, was because it makes food, like good food, like really wholesome, nutritious food, look like a phase. And it's something that you only consume for 4 weeks until you've lost 5 kilos or 6 kilos or whatever it is. And then you go back to the normal food. And those normal foods are things that generally make you feel shit. And it's just this toxic cycle where it's like you can have all of these foods every day, no good or bad, just food, and you can actually maintain healthy weight loss or maintain your weight as whatever it is. And it's just, the media, they just push it into you that you need to look a certain way, and that when you achieve this 5 kilos in 4 weeks, you're going to be happier, you're going to be confident, you're going to, all the boys are going to want you or like whatever it is, whatever that toxic shit they're putting in your head, and then you'll get to that point and you'll feel good for like a week, and then you'll be like, woo, let's go get burgers and let's eat everything and and it's just, and then you're like, oh shit, I put that weight back on. Let's do this lemon detox diet now. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, and you're always addicted to going back to that feeling. Yes. Yeah. And it's like that gratification. It's external gratification because, people, and I've seen this with a lot of women where they'll lose a bunch of weight, 10, 15, whatever kilos, and then because they were bigger, it's easier to lose weight anyway. So, but then you hit a certain point, and then that's kind of like where the plateau starts to come in. Yeah. Not that I'm a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything, but that I've seen it happen. And then the frustrations come in, and then the more extreme diets come through because, they've had all these people praise them. Oh, you look so great. You look amazing, blah, blah, blah. Even like we've seen it with Adele, when she was a bigger woman and then she lost all this weight, and people just could not stop praising how she looked. And it's like, well, she hasn't changed as a person. And
she's still the same girl.
She looked great before. She looks awesome now. Like, however she feels, if she's happier, great. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah. And I think that also with our conversations, and this comes back, I guess, to those microaggressions where we can attach someone looking good, or looking happy and looking more full of energy as attached to their weight loss. Yeah. So I think it's kind of tied in, but obviously people that lose weight and they want to do it, like, great for health reasons and whatever, awesome, do what you got to do. But I think it can be a very fine line between getting that for your health and doing, a Kickstarter to be sustainable and eat well and be nourished, and then just attaching your happiness to what the mirror is reflecting to you.
I think that's where you need to differentiate between a fad diet and sustainable healthy weight loss for your health, because you can still achieve, like, wanting to lose weight. If that's genuine, if that's what you want, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That is okay. But it's not about putting yourself in this mindset of, I need to instantly lose 5 kilos. I'm going to go on this crash diet and I'm going to do it, and then I can go back to normal. As soon as you're in that space, you're on a fad diet. That's what it is. If you really want to lose weight and you want to be healthier and you want to be happier, there are so many healthy ways to go about that that is going to involve you nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, and creating a new lifestyle, a new routine that's sustainable for the long term. If something is short term, if something is 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever, that is a fad diet.
Yeah.
And you need to work your way through that, whether it's, speaking to a nutritionist or a dietitian or whoever it is, that's going to help you rise above that. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I didn't ask anyone for help. I didn't say, I don't feel good, I want to do this, or I want to lose weight, or whatever it is. You just thought you had to do it on your own. So you'd go to the chemist and see what was there. I mean, I don't know if you did that, but I know when I was younger, I did that too. Whereas now it's like there are so many amazing resources out there. There are so many great people that you can speak to who share their experience or provide you, informed information that can help you create a new lifestyle. And I'm sure that's what you've done, to find that peace within your body. You also had to find that new lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more about, with anything, short-term sustainability in a sense, like you said, the 3-6 week, whatever, 3 months.
Yeah.
If your goals are short-term in that sense, the result's going to be temporary.
Yeah.
So you need to think longer term in, like you said, changing your lifestyle, changing habits, daily habits, daily narrative within your own brain. And then also the way that you look at food and your relationship with food. My relationship with food has been tumultuous, to say the least. Like it's just been rocky, and it's going from seeing things as bad and indulgent and like cheat days and binge eating and stuff like that. It's just so bad, so toxic. Yeah. And to even just label food as like guilt-free and things like that, it ends up being like you're putting then an ownership and a stigma on, the non, like maybe there's a vegan brownie or whatever that's made with like black beans and stuff, and it's a bit on the healthier side. Yeah. Or a bit more of a nourishing, more vitamins, minerals, whatever. And then there's just like the brownie that's got like all the like butter and milk and sugar and whatever. Yeah. And then that's labeled as the guilty pleasure that we binge on. And then, going like if you are craving something, and this is what I kind of say as well to friends and stuff, if you're craving pasta, don't have the pasta. Like if you don't like zucchini noodles, instead have spaghetti. Yeah. Like, okay, just satisfy your craving and move on.
Move on. Get on with it. Yes.
You don't have to punish yourself for being a human and having cravings. Yes. This is like,
exactly.
Don't try to suppress the appetite and do this. Just eat when you're hungry. Listen to your body with everything. And it's just insane that we are suppressing ourselves and I guess restricting ourselves. And it's all about that restrictive, like limiting diets that then, we're like, oh, I'm just, doing whatever it is. Because someone else does it. Like we could all, if like 100 people did the same diet, did the same amount of exercise, you'd still look all different. Completely different. And it's based on so many different things. But I remember a friend's mum said to me a few years ago, she said, everyone is born with the weight that they will be. Like you can't, it's just what their weight is meant to be when they're an adult. Whatever it is. And yes, factors change and, you can lose weight, put on weight, whatever. But around, like you said, you kind of have that crash diet and then you put on those 5 kilos back. Well, that 5 kilos is the space between you and having your life. Yeah. So you're going and having that pizza on the weekend. You're having that extra glass of wine. You're enjoying your meals with friends and brunches and whatnot. Like not all the time, but like you're not saying no to those opportunities of living your life. Yeah. So that is the difference in the space between living your best life and living a life of restriction. Yeah. And
that's
no
not living at all. No one wants that. You want to enjoy your food, your friends, company. You want to have a life. Yeah. And you can still have all of that and be a happy and healthy person in every sense of the word, So a big part of your struggles when it came to body confidence was due to the rise of Instagram and that toxic cycle of wanting to always be picture perfect. Let's talk about this because we, like you said before, we were quite lucky. I mean, I know I didn't even get on Facebook until like the end of year 12 or like somewhere within that space. That's good. I was very late. We didn't have internet at home, so I was very late getting on that. Yeah. And I was, it just wasn't even a thing. Like even when I was on it, you were so dissociated from it. Like it was something different. And I feel so grateful because I know when I was 15, 16, that age, I was so easily influenced.
Oh, yeah.
By what I saw. Like I remember when I was young, I would sit there and read every Dolly magazine and I would look at these girls and be like,
gosh,
why
Dolly.
the hell don't I look like that? So
Absolutely.
if I had on my phone, like we do now, images and images and images of these flawless people, I think that would really damage me. And I get really passionate about this because I think, I've got nieces and I look at younger women and I get scared that, I'd hate for them to get caught up in that cycle. So I think it's important for us to be really loud about this. Absolutely. And, help people understand that it is not a reality and striving for that is not achievable.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Like, where do you stand with it all?
I'm just super passionate about it, like you are. And mainly it's because I have a 16-year-old sister.
Yeah.
So she has grown up, obviously Gen Z is the digital generation. So they've grown up with an iPad in their hands from the get-go. And I completely agree with you. And it's interesting because when we grew up with Dolly and Girlfriend and stuff like that and 17 and whatever, they were celebrities, right? So we kind of had, we kind of knew that they were
special.
They've got their, dietitians and shit. And I remember even reading magazines where it's like, this is what, Adriana Lima eats in a day based from her dietitian. And I'm like, all right, well, she has a dietitian, so that kind of makes sense.
Exactly.
But like Instagram, it's everyday people.
It's everyone.
It's anyone and everyone has accessibility to Lightroom, Photoshop, Facetune, all of these apps, even videos. I've seen actually people edit a video where their body is different, like because you think, okay, video doesn't lie. It does. Like it is very scary. The technology we have at our fingertips now to change your whole look.
Yeah.
You could even you see memes and stuff where it's like a girl's like catfishing themselves and stuff because they've done these filters and stuff like that, if they went missing, you wouldn't recognize them in the street or whatever. Like it's just these silly things that it does that's a bit of an extreme example, but it's those kinds of things that like, how did we get here? And it really is just all marketing. And I come from marketing and I know that it's all coming from people making money off of like having these products available, mainly men that I have just kind of looked into. Like the creams and the big corporations and stuff that sell those diet pills and the Atkins diet, those paleo diets, all of those big name brand, American diets, they all stem from some old white guy that just was like, this is what, based on like the BMI of also European white men. Yeah. Like if you look into BMI and stuff, super interesting. But it's based on a tiny little model, tiny group of people. Like all of that stuff is then tied into this, and then the marketing, selling it to influencers. It just is this constant stream, this flow-on effect, if you will. And then it trickles down all the way to your nieces and girls that are just in high school trying to
figure out who they are.
Trying to be themselves and navigate the world as, a 16-year-old, and that's tough enough. Yep. And now they've got TikTok and it just is insane. And TikTok is so great for so many things, but there's different things that, it's not censored. It's not regulated. It's, some of the stuff that I see sometimes I'm like, oh my God, does this exist? And like millions of people have liked it. So that means millions and more have watched
probably seen it. Yeah.
And it just is scary. The amount of like the viralness of these particular things or trends or fads or whatever it is, it just, when you think about it, it's very, very scary for the average teenage girl or boy.
I think it's like our job to, anyone really, It's our job to really make sure we're spreading that message of this is not our reality. This is 1% of someone's life. This is not who they are. This doesn't reflect their bad days. Social media is a highlight reel. And one thing I'm also, like I've always said, is that even if you do follow an influencer, you have chosen to follow this person.
Yes.
It's not their responsibility to post their bad days. And it's also not their responsibility to post things that make them, I don't know, like unfilled. Like if they want to filter their photos, that's whatever. But it's our responsibility to stand our ground and understand that the things we see are not real. You know, they're not reality, and that's okay. And it's no one else's responsibility to kind of make them, I don't know. I've always just had this belief that we need to understand that for ourselves. You know, if you are choosing to follow someone, then be prepared to not see their whole life. Because a lot of people don't want to share everything. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, because we don't need to spend 24/7 on social media, you know, and I think it's really important to share that message with the younger generation so they understand that this person's sharing the smallest part of their life and the rest is really your imagination. Like, you know, what you perceive to be perfect and not, you know, it's just – everyone's got shit days. Everyone's relatable in a way. Like if you really sat down and, you know, look at Kim Kardashian, I'm sure that she has bad days too where she feels like shit, you know, and it's like, it's, I don't know.
It's self-regulating,
Absolutely,
right? You just need to take responsibility using the app and take some caution as well.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I started, I guess, with the unlearning of that negative self-talk is just like unfollowing a whole bunch of, as soon as I guess for a rule of thumb, and I live by this as well, and I tell people to do this. If you're looking at someone's feed or you're looking at your feed and you scroll past something, a photo, and you're like, oh, this person again, and you start to feel this internal like gurgling of, oh, I feel like shit now, like having seen that, or
it sparked up my anxiety.
Giving you anxiety. It is not benefiting you at all. And you've kind of noticed that it's been a pattern. Unfollow that person. It literally takes 2 clicks, go on the profile, click unfollow, and that's it. You never have to think about it again. Like, why put yourself through that? It's your feed. Customize it, tailor it to how you want to feel, what you want to consume. It's your personal consumption. Like that's the beauty of Instagram as well. We can consume what we want to consume and not consume what we don't want to consume. So if you're listening, unfollow a bunch of accounts as soon as you see like whatever.
And even like I recently, you know, if you don't want to unfollow someone, because I had a few people that I know and I might see them out and I didn't want it to be awkward, but I was feeling like shit when I saw their stuff. It happens. I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't happen. It happens to all of us. So I just muted these people so I don't have to see anything. You know, and you shouldn't have to feel like you need to explain yourself or justify it to yourself. If something makes you feel shit and you don't want to see it, you have so many other amazing things in your life to focus on, and social media is such a small part. You know, so if there's something on there that is triggering you, giving you anxiety, making you feel shit, or you're thinking, fucking hell, I don't want to see this anymore. I don't want to see this girl's naked body anymore. You can unfollow or you can mute and you can get on with your day. Fine. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not, you know.
You don't owe anyone anything.
No, it's all about what's going to make you feel good and creating those healthy boundaries. So,
absolutely. Give yourself boundaries and allow yourself to do that, because you are the one with your phone.
Yes.
No one else is looking at your phone. No one's judging you based on who you follow. Like really, no one really gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
just like take a step back and be like, all right, I'm just putting it on myself. It's like when you go to the gym and you're like, oh, everyone's looking at me, but everyone is thinking that.
Yes.
And so everyone, it's like a conundrum, like a paradox, if you will. Like you're walking in thinking everyone's looking at you. They're there thinking you're looking at them, but no one is actually looking at anyone. They're just so
everyone's
self-absorbed.
Just doing their thing. Yes, absolutely.
So just like go through life like that and just think no one else cares.
That's such a good point. I love that you've mentioned that.
Yeah.
So the $1 million question today that I'm going to get you to answer is, how does one become confident and love their body?
Oh, yes. $1 million question indeed. It is, like I mentioned earlier, a journey, and it's going to be not the easiest journey, especially it depends on where you're coming from as well, what platform you're sitting on in terms of how comfortable you are with yourself and how you look in the mirror or what you see and feel when you look in the mirror. I always say confidence is a muscle. It's like going to the gym. You know, you need to flex that muscle daily. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. It just is little bits at a time that makes it stronger over time, because it's going to be a slow progression into feeling a little bit better every day. And yeah, I have shit days, like a lot, but it's less than what it used to be. And that's the aim. So it's not like I'm never going to be unconfident again. I'm never going to be not a confident person. Like I may have those times, and you never say never. But coming from where I was, I would say maybe 6 years ago now, when I started looking into body positivity, and like that just was such a progression, and looking at how I looked at myself back then and how different my body was as well, because we change and evolve all the time. It's just natural. It's human. And you just have to slowly work up to it every day. You're just building a stamina, and you're building resilience as well within yourself, and being able to notice different things about your body that you appreciate, like you mentioned earlier with like, you know, being able to walk and things like that. It's just, you know, you don't have to think about that all the time. It doesn't have to be super present, but it's just knowing that the tiny things in your day is what is going to make up for the bigger moments, and you're able to appreciate life, you know, bloody leaves falling down off a tree that just like end up kind of in your face, and it's like a bit of a like
beautiful moment.
Like a really like nice self moment, right? And becoming that confident person is going to take time. It's going to take effort, and it's never going to stop. But it's like going to the gym. You know, you wouldn't go to the gym once and do your legs, and then you've got really strong legs. Like it just, you're not going to have a big butt if you do like 2 squats or, you know, do 100 squats in one day and that's it. Like, can you imagine? That would be great. If you could just do that and go to the gym once a year. Yeah. I'm sure that there's someone working on that.
Oh my God.
As we speak. Yeah. But again, diet culture and all that shit comes into that scene as well. Creeps in on you.
Yeah, it does.
But, you know, it's not going to be a one-off. And that's what you need to be prepared for. And there are going to be days that hit you hard that you're like, I feel like crap. Or, you know, especially for women, like hormonal times throughout the month, or if you have different hormonal imbalances and as well, that can also come into how you view your body. So I used to be like really self-conscious of like my belly and like especially the lower part, which is like called the fupa pretty much. And like my arms and stuff. And I would just feel really look in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, like oh, that little bit there is sticking out, or it doesn't really look that great, or whatever. You're going to have days like that. It's never going to go away, but it's just the less amount of them. So you want to focus on just bringing that percentage and that fraction down every, you know, and you can look back on the year and think like I had some really great times and I felt awesome. And body positivity to me is about liberation and neutrality, which is not having to think about what you look like, sitting down, walking, eating, drinking, whatever, living your life pretty much. It's about just not thinking about it, because someone that's not confident will always be fidgeting. They'll always be thinking about, oh, what do I look like in this and that? Or, you know, and I change clothes all the time. Like that's fine. But it's just when you're going out about your business and you're constantly just always thinking externally of what you look like instead of just being in your moment or being, it just, and that again comes from, you know, we video record everything. We take photos of everything. We always feel like we're always having to be on camera and camera ready and stuff like that as a regular human, right? Not a celebrity. It's like we're living that life almost. And I just think the less you can think about your body every day, the better.
And it's also, you know, waking up in the morning and saying, what is one thing I can do for myself today that is going to make me feel good? Absolutely. You know, because like you said, it's not one day you wake up and you're amazing. It's what's 1% every day. 1% better every day is a lot by the end of the year.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like that's a lot. So ask yourself that question in the morning. What is one thing I can do today that is going to make me feel confident? If that's buying a new top or doing your hair differently or whatever it is, you do that. Going to the gym or eating a certain meal, you do that. And
it's so true. And don't let anyone make you feel like shit for doing something, you know, that, like, even people like that say, oh, like, you wear makeup all the time, like, to someone else. I don't wear makeup personally. This is probably like a one day of the week thing for me, just because I just prefer to do that because I actually feel sometimes better without makeup on, which is my prerogative. But when, you know, you overhear conversations of like, oh, as if you wear, like, oh, as if she wears that much makeup and stuff. And you kind of hear like, you know, just fuck off. Like, just let them be. You know, just let people navigate life however confident they are. And that also kind of comes into, I guess, the trickier topic is when you start to dive into the surgeries and lip fillers and the alterations and boob jobs and whatnot. Like, my kind of thing is, and people ask me this quite a lot because it's a bit of a grey area for like body positivity. And I just say, if it makes you feel good and you feel more confident doing that, whatever it is, go for it. Yeah. But just watch your space. You know, just make sure that is really making you like feel great, you know, and just adding to your confidence that you already are building on. Yeah. It's not going to be the answer to your confidence. Yeah. It just needs to, you know, it plays a small role in maybe you feeling better. I know, like, I grew up with crooked teeth and I had to wear braces for 2.5 years. Yeah. And, you know, I know people are doing Invisalign or they do teeth whitening and stuff like that. Or they, you know, do facials or anything and everything. Or breast reduction. I had breast reduction as well. And I know people that have had bigger boobs, like implants put in. And it's like, that I did because I was feeling self-conscious about myself for so long and I couldn't do anything about it. No matter how much weight I would try to lose in that area, it just doesn't go away sometimes. Yeah. So whatever is going to make you feel good to a degree, like, do that. Yeah. Whether it's makeup, whether it's clothing, whether it's something external that you can add that 1% to your day, and also work on the internal monologue and catch yourself. And that's also kind of a big thing for loving your body is catch yourself. Yeah. And recognize when you're starting a spiral or when those, like, why a question is just even question. You don't have to think like, oh, I can't think negative at all. No, it happens.
It's impossible.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it'll happen, and we all compare yourself, but then that's when you kind of just need to catch yourself. Like, okay, why? Just stop and think. Why am I comparing myself right now? Like, why do I feel less than? Why do I feel not good enough? And then you're able to look at the triggers, as well, and work on it. You know, working on yourself is going to take a lot, but it is so worth it. Like, the reward for that work is insane because now I get asked all the time, you know, how, like, we're talking right now about confidence. Like, ask me this 6 years ago, I would have
you'd be like, why are you asking me?
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know shit about that, but it is all experience and what I've been able to see through, like, having my dress hire business, like, back in the day, and, you know, helping curvy women find their confidence as well, just through even talking to them. And, you know, everyone has different things that they point out about themselves that they hate or that they, you know, wish they could change. Yeah. And it's like, well, why do you feel like that? Like, let's talk about it, you know, and then kind of dive into, you know, everyone does have that about them, whether you're thin, bigger, tall, short, whatever you look like in any shape or form. You know, we just all need to be a bit kinder to ourselves and to each other as well, 100%.
Absolutely. I love that. We've run out of time today. It was amazing. Yeah. We've talked, I feel like this episode has just been one that I want everyone to listen to because it's so, you know, each of the things we've spoken about today are just, you know, when you don't feel good and you're in that space of what do I do? How do I feel better? Like, it's horrible. Yeah. And you spiral, like you said, you keep going down and it's like, you know, let's all listen to this. We all have shit days. We all are focused on ourselves, you know, and it's like, be kind to yourself, be kind to those around you, stay in your 100%. Lane and, you know, just do you really. Yeah. But before we finish, just quickly, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
I would say just just stop beating yourself up. Just be okay with who you are and try to have a great time just living and doing whatever you want to do with life, because it's too bloody short to be living it according to someone else's rule book. So just be as silly and loud and quirky and whatever, just be your authentic self, because more likely than not, you're going to attract the people that are right for you. Yeah. And that will be attracted to your confidence and all those great things.
I love it. Yeah. Love it. So where can everyone find more of you if they want to come and hear more about your journey and what you have to offer?
So you can follow me on Instagram at alexia.eleni. So I post a lot of confidence stuff. I try to do more of it. Yeah. And my modelling, which is great little fun side hustle for me to be a curve model, which is awesome. And I love it. And Lexicon Creative for my business stuff, which is social media, copywriting, creative marketing. So
love it. I'll put all your handles in the show notes so people can come and easily find you. But thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today. It was amazing.
Thank you. It was so much fun to finally be a guest on podcast.
I know. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Mel.
No worries. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope you have taken even just one piece of wisdom from this episode that you can apply to your life to help you grow and be a happier and healthier version of you. Please like, subscribe, and make sure to share us on your socials. Sending lots of love to you all. Bye. Yay, good job. Oh my God, we could have talked all day. I was like, you can